Heard from God lately? God Conversations equips you to recognize and respond to God's voice in your own life. Here's pastor and founder, Tanya Harris.
During a time of pandemic, there are so many unknowns. Before now, everything was predictable and familiar. We'd wake up in the morning, we'd eat our breakfast, we'd go to the same workplaces and see the same people, we'd go to the same stores or go out for dinner at the same restaurants. But now, everything is unknown. We wake up in the morning and all of a sudden there's a new set of regulations. There's a new level of shutdown and restrictions. We can't go here, we can't do that, the stores are closed. How do we know what to do in the midst of a pandemic when there are so many unknowns? There was a man called Rick, and he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He came to Australia for a few weeks for a work trip, and while he was here, all the borders shut down. The international flights were grounded, and he found himself stranded, far away from his family and his 3 children back in America. What was he to do? How do we navigate times like these? I know many of you have lost jobs, you've lost livelihoods, your future is in jeopardy. All of the familiar things that you've known are suddenly disappearing. Well, this man took his unknowns to God. He began to pray. He knew that there was a God who cares and who knows what to do. So he said, God, will you help me? What do I do? And God spoke back. The Spirit of God spoke to Rick and said, go and buy a PlayStation. Pardon? What? Buy a PlayStation? Why would I buy a PlayStation in the middle of a pandemic when I'm stranded on the other side of the world? And anyway, I can't afford a PlayStation. That's kind of a luxury item. I need my money for the basics, for the necessities, and all the things that I might need in the future. But God's voice was clear. He knew that God was a God who spoke back, that God was someone who cared about Rick's situation. So he planned to go out and buy a PlayStation. As he was doing that, someone gave him a monetary gift, plenty of money to cover the cost. So he went into the store, he bought the PlayStation, he came home and he set it up in his home. The next day, his family called. He spoke to his wife and to his children, and then to his young son, Tommy. I miss you, Dad, he said. I miss our times together. And I especially miss playing with you on my PlayStation. Rick smiled over the phone. It's okay, Tommy. What I want you to do is to go onto your PlayStation and get onto this video game, and you will find me there. Well, that evening, they began to play on their PlayStation together. From one side of the world to the other, they talked to each other, they laughed, they bonded together. They played, and little Tommy was not so fearful of his dad being far away. You see, the God of heaven and earth knows what to do. When we don't know how to navigate times that we've never been through before, we've never seen anything like this, most of us in our lives. But God is greater than any pandemic, and He sees everything, and He knows what to do. And the beautiful thing about knowing God is that when Jesus was on the earth, He continually spoke to His disciples. He told them what to do. But just before He left, He said, I'm going to send you my Spirit, my Holy Spirit. And the Spirit of God is going to continue to speak to you and tell you and help you to know what to do. My Spirit will remind you of the things that I've already taught you. My Spirit's going to remind you of the truths of salvation and what I'm like. But I've got so much more to tell you. And I can't tell you it all right now, but you're going to have questions. You're going to go into situations that you don't know what to do. But don't worry, because my Spirit will go with you wherever you go. And my Spirit will continue to speak to you. On the day of Pentecost, the Spirit of God was poured out on every single one of us. God's Holy Spirit given to us to remind us of the things that Jesus taught, but also to tell us what to do. Can I encourage you in this time when you don't know what to do, when all your plans are in disarray? Go to God. He's a God who knows what to do. Ask, Holy Spirit, help me. This is a God who cares about each one of us, who knows exactly what to do.